This Russian fiasco has affected the whole global balance of power, and this could be the catalyst for Bitcoin going to $1 million. This seems crazy, but here's why. The global financial system is based on a network called SWIFT. This essentially allows your bank to connect to any other bank in the world and send transfers and money back and forth. SWIFT is controlled predominantly by the US and the EU. When Russia was removed from SWIFT, they lost access to $630 billion worth of their own national reserves. Essentially, the US and EU used SWIFT to seize the national reserves of an adversary. I don't support Russia's actions, but this is the first time a nation's reserve has been seized in this way, and this changes the game in a massive way. Here's why. Due to COVID, the US printed 40% of the entire dollars in existence during COVID. However, the USD is also the reserve currency in the world, and printing 40% of it leads to inflation globally, which then leads to other countries that hold the US on their balance sheet as reserves losing some value of their money as inflation goes up, because 40% was printed and circulated in the market. So those countries naturally now have less US reserve or less US dollars worth of their initial reserve before the printing happened. The combined action of the US and EU removing Russia from SWIFT and the debasement of the dollar creates a massive catalyst and introduces a high risk. But before we go into that, you should probably follow me, like this video, and share it with your friends if you're enjoying this. Let's continue. The thing is that no other nation in the world wants to become the reserve currency like America is, because that comes with a lot of risk, and it means they need to open their markets, and which gives them less control of their markets. China, for example, likes to have control of their market. That's why you have some issues between China and the US. So immediately, what an impasse. You have a currency that can be seized by the US and the EU because of opposing views, like Russia, and then you also have a currency that's being debased. What's happening right now is the larger nations are starting to look for an alternative reserve currency. The best reserve currency alternative you can find in the world is gold. The problem with gold is heavy. You can't move gold. These countries need reserve currency because they need to make transactions at lightning speed. They are reserve currency, but they need to be liquid. They need to be able to be moved from place to place quickly. What's the next alternative apart from gold? Digital gold, the digital equivalent. What does that leave us with? Bitcoin. The next opportunity for Bitcoin in the market is that nations start to buy Bitcoin because of what's happening in Russia, because of inflation, and no one is talking about this. But that is opportunity for you. The thing though is these nations do want to buy low. They never want to buy high. So I predict as Bitcoin's price is low, they will start to allocate slowly over time, and I predict a choppy market coming forward. But this is what's happening on a macro scale. US, EU, SWIFT, debasement of US dollar combined. We need a new reserve currency. Bitcoin is probably it. This would catalyze Bitcoin to $1 million. You can take advantage of it, but even better, you should take advantage of what that's going to do to the alt market, which is going to absolutely send it. The best way to find the altcoins that would survive is to do research. If you can't do the research,